only person that you'll only have to ever do this once. If you have other people driving your buggy, every time you get in, it's best to double check all these adjustments before you go wheeling.
Get the coolest gifts at Summit Racing's genuine hot rod hardware. From novelties and collectibles to replicas and more. You'll find hundreds of great gifts for every gearhead on your list. Order today and get same-day shipping. Your gifts delivered right to your door. Or if you can't decide, get an all-access gift card. Good at both Summit Racing equipment and genuine hot rod hardware. 'Tis the season to save. Now at genuinehotrod.com.
All right, now let's head on back to the Extreme Shop.
Today we're taking some time to show you guys correct procedures for mounting items to a tube chassis using our curvy buggy as a base. And one item that you definitely have to pay attention to is the fuel cell. One of the easiest ways to get a fuel cell for your rig is to buy a pre-made one like this one from Summit Racing. It's an all-aluminum fuel cell, fully welded, and it's been pressure tested for leaks. But how you mount it to the rig is very important. See, you pulled out of the box, got these little tabs on it right here, and you would think simply weld a little tab onto your chassis and bolt it in place. The problem comes when you fill it with fuel. Start driving around on the trail. There's a lot of weight here, 16 gallons of fuel. The weight of this fuel is moving up and down in the cell. It can actually start to bend these tabs. One of these tabs bends and breaks off. There's a good chance that you're going to have a leak in your fuel cell. That can lead to fire. Now, you don't just have to support it on the bottom with some plate. You also need to support it on the top. So you'll make a set of straps that attach to the bottom plate, go up and around the top of the fuel cell to hold it down, basically sandwiching it between two sections of the chassis. That way the whole cell will move around with your chassis instead of moving on its own and possibly breaking apart. Hey, look. It's me. I'm gonna make it Chris now.
Oh, no.
There, now it's Chris. Securing the fuel lines to the chassis is just as important as mounting the fuel cell, but you have to remember a couple things. You can go ahead and use zip ties, and they don't look very good, but more importantly, there's an issue. This is stainless braided line, and if you attach it to the chassis of your rock crawler, you basically have one big piece of steel. That means that there's electrical current or ground circuit running through your fuel line. If you're ever on the trail and you have some bare wires, or even just work in the shop, drop them, just set them on the fuel line. It's going to arc through and possibly cause a fire. A better solution is to mount the fuel line independent. Use some of these clamps from Made For You products. They're chemical and conductive resistant, and they come in a complete kit with everything that you'll need to mount a bunch of different lines. The nice thing is the through bolt that attaches the two halves actually is a little bit longer, so you can just drill and tap the tubing to mount the line in place. If you do have a line going through any firewalls, you do need to add a grommet. Great type of grommet is this one from Earl's that you screw into the firewall and then just cut to the size that you need. This will keep any of the fuel lines or oil lines from chafing against the exposed metal of the firewall, creating a leak.
You're watching Extreme 4x4. For a DVD copy of this episode, just go to powerbblocktv.com and order your copy for just $5.95 plus shipping and handling. Start your own Extreme 4x4 collection, delivered right to your door from the Powerblock. 'Tis the season to save at the Powerblock. New start-to-finish DVDs. Get the complete big builds from your favorite shows. Plus, new for 2011, rugged shopware. The perfect gearhead gift with an all-new look. Naughty or nice, check your list twice. 'Tis the season to save at the Powerblock.
Hey guys, next week, catch a special one-time only airing of the Powerblock. Will be on Friday after Thanksgiving, starting at 9 a.m. So next week, mark your calendars. No Saturday or Sunday, but a special airing on Black Friday.
Welcome back to Extreme, where today our curvy buggy has made a bunch of headway. With the drivetrain locked in place and the seats mounted, it's time to get the suspension bolted back up and get this chassis up off the floor. The last type of mount we want to talk about today is a suspension mount, and in particular, a coil-over shock mount. Now, one of the easiest ways to do it is with two small metal tabs. Simply attach a through bolt and weld them onto the chassis. But a little bit better way to do it is with what's called a shock bung. Now, this is a small machined piece of steel that actually is mounted inside that chassis rail. Then the shock is bolted in from the outside with another additional tab. Now, this is a lot stronger because the weight of that coilover shock is being carried by the chassis itself, not by two small tabs welded onto the outside of it. Now, the orientation of the shock bolts is also very important. You install a coilover shock at an extreme angle like we do all the time, especially in a rock crawler, you want to have the bolts running at 90 degrees to each other. If we have this top bolt mounted across the chassis like this, the bottom bolt must mount with the chassis, front to back, at 90 degrees to the top bolt. Now that means that the shock won't get in a bind when the suspension articulates up and down. It'll ride on the misalignment spacers at one end, and on the other end, it'll ride across the bolt, making sure that the suspension doesn't bind up. Now, we are not going to mount our suspension up today. We just wanted to get the fuel cell installed up front and the drivetrain locked into the back so we could check for the location of the coilovers and order the correct length. Now, so far, everything about this buggy seems larger than life. We've got giant axles, huge tires, and a monster drivetrain stuffed in the back. But so far, the passenger compartment may seem a little small because of this drop-down dash bar and the design of it. And honestly, our crew has been busting our chops all the time about building buggies that they just can't fit in. And to prove us wrong, we've got Matt Everett, one of our cameramen here. Now, he is 6'8", just under 270 pounds, and he'll let us know if it feels a little bit different than the Samurai. What do you think, Matt?
Oh, yeah, this is much better. Got a little headroom there. I like this window. It's nice and open. And I like this dash. It's pretty cool.
Well, we'll strap them in, maybe put some padding up above your head there so you don't bang it. We'll even let you drive this one on the trail. And that's all we got for today, and I'm gonna let Matt finish it all off.
Actually, I'm only 267. I don't know where he gets that 270 from.